Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. We offer adorations to Krishna, the Lord of the universe, with the delighter of Devaki and Vasudeva. Vasudeva and Devaki are two aspects within you of your chitta. Chitta is the mind stuff. One aspect is jnana, knowledge. Another aspect is devotion. Two potentialities there in your mind. On the basis of these two, there arise Krishna within your heart, the blossoming of a divine vision. But all those details we will keep for later. So Krishna is the delighter of his Vasudeva Sutam. He is the son of Vasudeva, Devaki Paramanandam, and the great giver of great delight to Devaki. Kansa Chanura Mardanam. Kansa is ignorance, avidya. And Chanur is the effect of ignorance in the form of distractions and other ramifications. To that Krishna we offer adorations. Chapter 2, verse number 14. In chapter 2, a sketch of the ideal to be reached is being presented to you. What is that ideal? Have a general view. That has been the style of the Hindu scriptures. The very first section or chapter of any scripture gives you the ideal, the goal that the scripture is going to teach. And then you are led how to go. Simple to understand. If you have a travel plan, you must know where you go. And then you start your plan. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada agama payino nityans tanstitikshasva bharata. So far we have heard that the great statement of Krishna, Ashochyananva shochastvam. All the grief that comes into your mind, in brief, is based on illusion. You may say, how can that be possible? Wait, go to sleep. In deep sleep, all your grief is gone. A deeper level within you, all what the mind does is transcended at deeper level. The mind is not total you. How to become free of grief? Because the Gita opens with the word grief, Ashwachya, ends with the word Mashucha. Therefore, don't grieve. It opens with the idea. You are grieving over things not worth grieving for. Therefore, what should you do? Don't grieve. Gita is finished. But in order to understand it profoundly and to live by it, now all this, the teachings flow from Krishna. This verse means, O son of Kunti, actually, the term used is Bharata. The objects that are perceived by the senses are subject to birth and death. All perceptions, all that you encounter, has a beginning and an end. Even your very senses have beginning and end. Therefore, is there any possibility for eternal stability in any situation? Is there a resting, absolute resting point? Not as long as you are dependent upon your mind or trapped by your mind. But beyond the mind, there's nothing but the absolute self. They give rise to pleasure and pain. But as long as you are operating through your mind and senses, your life is led by karma. Karmas from the past have been of virtue and vice, and mixed. Virtuous karmas give rise to pleasant conditions. Vicious karmas or negative karmas give rise to painful conditions. Human embodiment is a result of mixed karma. These are simple points to hold in view, and you understand it more and more later. If you had all good karma behind you, you wouldn't be able to place your feet on the earth. You'd be just flying. So there is the idea presented that good karmas, just good karmas, will lead you to heaven, Swarga. In Swarga, you don't have physical body. It's a plane of bhoga, enjoyment. There is no purushartha, means you don't do any self-effort. You just stay in the heavenly world. Similarly, if you are pure negative karma, based on negative karma, pure negative karma, you cannot have human embodiment. You are in a subtle plane of intense misery called hell. Heaven is not good for you, even though it's presented in a most elegant manner, because it is a state of great joy. In human embodiment, joy and sorrow both are experienced under limitation. If you become too happy, your heart may fail. Even good news, people relate to their relative by telling them, sit down, drink a little juice, and you have won $1 million lottery. Your nerves limit you from being too elated, too happy. Your nerves also limit you from being too miserable. When you feel too much of negative feeling, distress, you drop out, become unconscious. So there is a valve controlling your happiness and your misery in human embodiment. Thank God. Stripped of the body, if you are simply led by your good karma, you don't have the valve. So if you are happy, your happiness goes so intense that you have no awareness of what is your goal, what you have to reach. Not even the question, how long will this happiness last? Just swept by. The mind is blown away like a balloon. Negative, on the other hand, that's the counter, negative. All pain, so much distress, fire everywhere, hell. Every soul goes through heaven and hell after death. After death, just like when you go to sleep, there is a dream. And then you wake. After death, there is a dream-like experience. Every soul led by karma. If karma is virtuous karma predominating, the soul will have a little touch of heaven. How long will he be in the heaven? You must realize the question itself is being asked by a dull mind. The time experience is through your mind. You may have, from practical point of view, gone into to sleep, and you woke up in half an hour. But during half an hour, you went into a dream, and the dream was so intense as if you have lived through 10 years of tremendous experience. The question, how long, it doesn't make any sense. Time is mind's projection. In fact, the entire world experience is a momentary deviation from Brahma. I'm not leading to that much. Coming back to this verse. Now, as I was explaining to you, dharma, adharma, pap, punya, papa, and mixed karma. That's what has given human embodiment. Therefore, you have great joy, but the joy is controlled by your nervous system. How much you should swell up with joy, that's limited by your nerves. There is a valve that controls it. Similarly, how much pain should you have? That's also valve control. There are human beings go through hell and heaven. But no matter how much of hell you have gone through, the real hell is much bigger, much more intense. All these are just not too much to get involved. What you need to be involved in, that deep down, you are beyond dharma and adharma. If you pursue the path of virtue, led by your ego, blanketed by ignorance, all that you go on doing is to go to heaven or go to hell, or rather you won't go to hell if you are following the path of virtue. Nevertheless, after going to heaven, you get into human embodiment. And in human embodiment, you have both possibilities. You cannot stay always with the same virtue. Virtue and vice are both limited. My intention is to give you the idea of the mixed karma. Every individual has mixed karma, good and bad. And it's up to you to enhance the good and control the bad. For what purpose? You enhance the good not to get into heaven, but to get into liberation. Goodness that allows you to reflect upon who am I. Goodness that allows your heart to be purified, Chitta Shuddhi. Chitta Shuddhi is the profounder purpose of life. All external attainments are secondary purpose. External attainments seem more practical. That's everybody looks for. There is no harm in it, but just to realize that external attainments are not the goal. You work for it, and acquire it, but don't be deluded by it. All attainments will pass on. Don't believe in it, read history. Now coming profounder points. Matra sparashastu kaunteya. O Arjuna, objects that are perceived by the senses are subject to birth and death. Matra sparsha. There are 5 senses. And the objects that are picked up by your 5 senses, as if your 5 senses touch the objects. In simple words, your eyes, your tongue, your nose, skin, and ears. Object for your eyes is called roop, forms, colors. Object for the tongue, taste, is called ras, taste. Object for the nose, smell. Object for the skin organ, touch. And object for your ear, sound. Sound, touch, and so forth. The 5 objects go to constitute your world experience. If the 5 senses are healthy, you are experiencing the world in a very healthy way. If you are deprived of even one of the 5, the eyes are gone. Then you are getting 1/5 of the world. 2 senses are gone, 2/5 are gone. Don't think of any more. Otherwise the world will become out of your reach. But all the experiences that you get through your 5 senses, those experiences bring to you pairs of opposites. Shitoshna sukha dukkhada. Hot, cold, pleasure, pain. Pairs of opposites. No one has been given an embodiment that will only experience pleasant conditions. No one. It's impossible. From very childhood, from the baby state, there is always struggle. There is always little falling, then lifting up. Always making error and correcting it. Staggering and then straightening oneself. Since that is a permanent feature in human embodiment, pleasure, pain, and in a very physical way, heat and cold. Since that is so, what's the remedy? Learn the art of titiksha, endurance. Because all this, agama payina, they come and go. Nothing is going to stay. So repeat the mantra, even this will pass away. And all this is anitya, it's not eternal. Since things that are bothering you are not eternal, don't make it eternal. Learn the art of enduring. But during the time you are enduring, allow your mind to have a subtle point. Turn to God. Repeat mantra. Develop a spirit of surrender. Keep your mind moving in a positive way. If in your field of activity you have the possibility to help someone, the possibility to exercise your compassion and charity, do it. If you do so, pain will move away. It is going to move away. But you have not intensified it. You have not fluffed it up by baking it. And you have not disbalanced yourself in such a way that you have create more negative karma. So for painful situations, how to handle them, that's an important point in life. Firstly, to say to yourself, I should not have had. When did I do this negative karma? In what life? Instead of doing all those things. Or what type of star is after me? What is that astrological condition? The worse is still, who is causing my pain? Instead of all that, simple point, even this will pass away. The moon is up there, veiled by cloud. You are enjoying it. A dark cloud has suddenly veiled. You got to run away. You stay there. Enjoy serenity of nature. Wait, the cloud moves away. Moon shines in. It's a figurative way of trying to explain that all things change. And you allow yourself to move on towards profounder enrichment, whether external conditions are pleasant or painful. If it is pleasant, you move on with greater joy. Painful, move on with surrender to God. And sometimes a painful condition, if you have faced in a profound way, proves to be of greater benefit to you than a pleasant situation. Yam hina vyathiyanchete purusham purusharshava sam dukkha sukham dhirihiram somritatvaya kalpate. O best among men, anyone who is balanced in pleasure and pain, and who is not agitated by the senses and their contact with objects, only such a hero is fit to attain liberation. This verse is pointing out to adhikaritva, which means qualifications for attaining enlightenment. A special term for it, upalakshana. When the teacher has many ideas to give to you, and time is short, she points out 2 or 3 of those that are the nucleus of those ideas. Which implies that don't limit your mind to only those points that he has said. Krishna said, titiksha, endure. But don't think the endurance is the only thing he wants you to do. He wants you to have Shat Sampat, Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan. He wants you to have all these 6, but he's showing only one finger. Now, therefore, let's give the details of those sadhana chatushtaya. First, sadhana chatushtaya, the 4-fold qualifications, 4 broad guidelines. First is develop viveka. Viveka is discriminative knowledge. Allow your intellect to go through a process of transformation, not stay intellectual. If intellect stays intellectual, Mahabharata gives you an episode of Bakasura. Soul has entered a Chakri Nagari. The wheel of the world process has come to you in your embodiment. And anyone who comes to this embodiment is subjected to death. So the Pandavas go to that city They live happily, but suddenly they realize that the people who had given them hospitality, they were all grieving. And Pandavas say, why are you grieving? And they say, because this city is in cahoot with a with a demon. The demon wanted to eat up everyone. So the city planned to send every day or every week someone for his food. So everyone is a prey to that demon. And what's the name of the demon? Bakasura. Baka means just words, palabras. Baka, baka, baka. When your intellect simply does baka baka work, lots of words, without allowing you to understand and think, then you are gripped by Bakasura. I will not lead you to the big story. But there Bhima comes to rescue. Bhima is the faith-based strength, like Hanuman. He destroys Bakasura. He eats up all the food of Bakasura. And he destroys. That means no longer you are dependent upon verbosities of your intellect. Once that is done, the big problem of Ek Chakri Nagari is over. You will not be bound embodiment. A gate has opened for your liberation. So, coming back to the 4 qualifications, Vivek, that type of discriminative understanding that leads your intellect to intuitional level. It is not, you are not calculating. Your intellect just opens a window to a profound revelation. But the process is gradual, progressive. There are times when you get insight. A mother looks at a child's face and knows exactly what the trouble is. A little pinch of that intuition. No buck. You don't ask the child. You don't use too many verbosities, and immediately understand. Similarly, in social level, if you are a very charitable, good person, you understand the people and their problems very fast without going through too many details. And your answers are not words, but some practical, something to be done. So ending Bakasura. Now Viveka, if I go on delivering that, you will not hear anything more. So the next point is Vairagya. Deep down your heart must be settled with the idea that the world experience is of the nature of Maya. Nothing of this world should stay with you. Just like when you go to sleep. All awareness of the world, even your pillow and what type of fragrance you put into it. Your room, your all things move away from your mind. The Vairagya is to understand the process of transcending all that is illusory and the entire world process. The world that is experienced through your intellect and ego. The world that is experienced through your senses. The world experienced in all your planes. That world is layers of illusion. And again, Vairagya develops progressively. First, you develop your Vairagya by watching your senses, controlling the senses. You remind yourself things that look pleasant, they are not really pleasant. Don't go after the looks. Called Yatamanam. Vairagya begins with Yatamanam, a striving state. Striving state, you go on reminding yourself. Parikshita was their great king, and he was to live only for 7 days. Every soul has the same predicament. One of the 7 days you quit the world. And therefore your project is not to be swept by the senses with the idea the objects of the world will make you so happy. Janma mrityu jara vyagi dukkha doshanu darshanam. All these points are elaborated in the Gita. Think of pain involved in birth as you grow, as you age, as you suffer from diseases, and so many. So Vairagya begins to grow within you when your mind goes on thinking of how transient the world is. The next point, Vyatirekam. You become aware that you have conquered the raga impressions in certain degrees. Raga is attachment, impressions of attachment in your unconscious. You are gradually peeling off those impressions. The result is you realize that there are situations where you can be completely your own master. Situations will not. You are diabetic and you are placed in a place full of sweets. But knowing what you are and what helps you, you don't go after. But nevertheless, you have certain weaknesses, and if you are placed in another situation, you will lose your control. You should be your own master. Don't put yourself in a situation where you will lose your reasoning and slip into a little ditch. That's that stage called Vyatirekam. You are becoming aware of the degrees of dispassion. Next stage called Vashikaram. If you grow up to an adult state, as it were, no matter how wonderful the toy is, if you are an adult, you don't care. You let the people enjoy the toy. In the same way, when mind has comprehended something profoundly, then no matter where God places you, outer world will not distract. It's called ekendriyam. Mind is the only thing now that you need to work with. And the next state, mind is completely controlled by you as you move on. So far it is called apara vairagya. As long as your vairagya is dependent upon your mind. But when you come into a state of seeing the mind itself dissolve, that's called para vairagya. Even the idea of staying with the mind constantly, that goes away. These are many ramifications. Simple point, Viveka developed that subtle understanding to separate real from the unreal. Vairagya become detached from that which is unreal and illusory. Third qualification is a set of 6 qualities called Shat Sampat. Shat Sampat is a brief, abbreviated form of Daivi Sam. Gita uses that term, divine wealth. Divine qualities that you must develop, all virtuous qualities. But all virtuous qualities depend upon what I am going to tell you, 6 points. Firstly, serenity, shama. How can you enjoy inner peace? Think of living in a house, always crowd. No matter where you turn, there are so many people, so many things going on. What do you say to yourself? Where can I go? I'll be alone to myself. Use that same simile in a more abstract way. Always we are facing a mind that is constantly busy doing things. How can you create a space where you can be beyond the mind, where you can outstep the mind, where you can have a sniff of peace? Of course, sleep is the simple answer. But don't look for answer in the terms of sleep. So that is tamasic movement. Healthy sleep is soft. But you look for answer by going to sleep, that's not healthy. But look for the answer, put yourself into the positive counterpart of sleep. Say to yourself, I'm sleeping. Get away. Vacuum the mind. That again easily said. Practice of japa, meditation, all that goes on helping you to allow your mind to be absolutely calm. So, if that process becomes joyous for you, then no matter how things happen, pleasant things happen, mind is crowded by a lot of people have come in, they are all with music and string instruments in their hands. Unpleasant things happen, then there's so many negative things are there, a lot of folk. But how to stay uncrowded in spite of all this possibility? Turn to serenity. Don't give value to these agitated conditions that come and go. But realize the real value lies in your space that you have chosen for yourself, where you can sit on a chair. I'm giving allegorical expression. Where you can be close to yourself. Shama is that art. Stay calm, still, and try to understand that stillness outweighs all the happenings of it. Next point, Dhamma, control the senses. Controlling the senses, again, is progressive. How much do you control the senses? In different situations, how much senses are to be controlled? Control doesn't mean that absolutely withdraw them. It means you utilize. Senses are called horses. Your chariot is led by the horses. But the horses should not take over the chariot. So that's called Dhamma. Uparati, your deep-rooted interest should not be on towards karma. Your actions, karmas that you do, should enable you to have purity of heart, not the amount of possessions, not the amount of things that you have accomplished in the world. The mind is always looking for how many things I can do. How many projects can I complete? The world always looks forward to it. But your deeper satisfaction is not the project. You are not ignoring it. The deeper satisfaction is purity of heart. Have I done my duty? And if your purity of heart becomes your focus, your project will automatically be the best. But purity of heart becomes your focus. Why? Because you want to put an end to karmas. That attitude that develops called uparati. Not interested in karmas and their results. Next point called titiksha. Therefore, do not allow yourself to be shaken like a straw. Develop a sense of a stability like a mountain in the midst of storms and rains. In order to do that, titiksha, endurance. Endurance gives you a strength of your nerves. That's a practical point. But strength of your mystical nerves that can give you amazing endurance. Then comes Shraddha, faith. Faith is a profound quality, the quality that represented by Hanuman. If that quality develops your mind that has been all the time a monkey, now it becomes a special monkey carrying the message of Rama. It develops amazing strength. And lastly, samadhan. Never allow yourself to look for contradictions. People generally are addicted to it. They came peacefully, but they are looking for what can be exciting. You have cobwebs there. And there is a spider. And there are 3 babies. Imagine how many disease germs we have captured there. Dramatizing. That means everybody, you became agitated, everybody became agitated. Samadhan is a counter. No matter how things are, tapantam na nindya tadvratam. If it is too hot, don't go on condemning it. Don't go on texting people, it's too hot, it's too hot. It's hot for you, but the world is enjoying it. A lot of solar energy is gathering and whatever. You don't have to think of. None in the earth. It's the cosmic world. It has its role and it comes, it goes. Varshantam nan in the earth. Lot of rain is coming. Don't go on condemning it. Enjoy to the extent you can, but there's no need to condemn it. Do not condemn people. Do not condemn animals. Do not condemn any situation. If it is negative for you, then work hard to make it easy. But don't live with a mind filled with condemnation. And unfortunately, the modern world lives with condemnation. Your mind has been relaxed. You open the TV and now you begin to condemn. That person should not have done that. And all these 6 is one set of qualities. Shat Sampat. And the last of the 4, called Mumukshutva. Intense aspiration for God realization. Just like when you are intensely hungry, you want to eat it. You don't want to hear people talk about food. No descriptions, you just want to eat. You just want to enjoy that freedom. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah. Ubhayorapi drishtontas tvanayo tattvadarshibhi. There is no existence for the unreal. In other words, unreal doesn't exist. And the real never ceases to be. Thus, the knowers of truth have proclaimed the nature of what is real and what is unreal. Now turn your mind to Sat and Asat. Move away from Asato Ma Sadgamaya. That's a profound sadhana that begins. The beginning movement of sadhana is turned towards Sat. Therefore, when you come to Satsanga, it's called Sat Sangha. Keep your shoes on. You follow the right path, it's called Sat Marga. In Sanskrit, T becomes N when you blend it. Sat Marga, Sadmarga. Satguru, Sadguru. People really, Sadguru. Yes, it is sad. That Sat, things that are Sat, that wherever find the movement leading towards Sat, that is most auspicious, most glorious. So Satsanga becomes a gateway to liberation. Anything that is touched by Sat becomes positive, powerful, auspicious. And that Sat is the absolute reality. There's no existence for the unreal. Unreal doesn't exist. Entire dream world, it seems so real for you. Wake up and there is nothing real there. The world experience is so real, but its reality is based on your nervous system. When you wake up from the world, become enlightened, body, the world, all this has no reality. And with this, I'll come Shanti.